Let's evaluate a laundromat deal. So I found this laundromat on Biz Buy Sell, and it is based in Manhattan, New York. High level, the asking price is 795,000. The yearly cash flow is 265,000. The gross revenue is $610,000, and it was established in 2012. So let's just look at the business description. Stable customer base with long-term lease. So this is a long-established coin-operated self-service laundromat located in New York. It has been in operation for years, since 2012, and serves a steady mix of nearby residents, local workers, and repeat customers. So the laundromat is fully staffed and currently runs without the owner being on site full time. Day-to-day operations are handled by trained attendants who manage cleaning, customer service, and basic oversight. All major equipment is owned outright and included in the sale. The machines are well maintained and routine servicing has been handled consistently. So, this is a straightforward operating small business with established systems already in place, and a new owner can continue operations as is or make improvements over time. Additional financial and operational details are available for qualified buyers. So let's look at some more detailed information. Inventory is worth about 10,000 included in the asking price. It has two full-time employee or one full-time employee and one part-time employee. And it includes 28 washers and 30 dryers, folding tables, seating, bill changers, security cameras, etc. And it says, as far as competition goes, the business benefits from surrounding apartment buildings and limited nearby competition within walking distance. So, the pros, opportunity to extend hours if you wanted to after you buy it, add wash and fold services, or improve local outreach and marketing. And the cons, urban rent structure. So, that must be something to do with the leased space. And it says requires hands-on oversight, but it does have two employees, so I'm not sure how much oversight that means. Financing, seller financing is available, and the seller will provide transition support. So, off top, this looks like a decent deal, but as always, I'm going to go to my acquire and automate software to evaluate this deal. This software is available exclusively to my mastermind members. So I'm going to go to acquire and automate and enter this information here so we can evaluate this deal. So here we are in our AI advisor. This is acquire and automate. This is a software that's exclusive to my mastermind members. It has a course library so you can learn the entire acquisitions process, including defining your deal criteria, how to find deals on market and off market, how to verify everything in due diligence, how to structure deals, etc. So it also includes resources like finding SBA lenders to help you get financing for deals, due diligence checklists, how to pitch yourself to lenders and prepare yourself to get financing, AI prompts to find deals for you, and AI playbooks to automate the business after you buy it. So this software has an AI advisor as well, and that includes a chat that is based on acquisitions. So you can ask it any question about acquisitions, about a deal that you're looking at, and it will give you the information that you need. And it has a deal analyzer. So that's where we're going to start. So I'm going to come here to the deal analyzer and I'm just going to type in laundromat. We're going to say consumer services is the industry. And we're going to paste the information from the listing here. So annual revenue was 610,000. The seller's earnings or cash flow is 265,000. And the asking price was 795,000. I don't have the growth rate because that wasn't included in the listing, but it is something that I could get from the seller or the broker if I wanted more information. So for the notes, I'm going to just literally copy the description from the listing and paste that here in the notes. And let's analyze this deal. This is what I love about this software is that you can literally just copy and paste information from a listing and it will give you an analysis in less than a minute and let you know if this is even something you should consider doing. This wasn't even possible just a few years ago. So here it gives me a deal score of 7 out of 10 and it says this laundromat presents a solid opportunity due to strong cash flow, established operations, and the owner absentee nature, but it does say that the asking price is on the higher end of industry multiples. I always look at asking price as negotiable, so that's pretty much the last thing I even consider when I'm evaluating a deal. I know that sounds backwards, maybe, because when you look at a deal, you might see a price and think, oh, I couldn't afford that. But I first evaluate the deal and then I determine what I think it's worth and what I want to offer. Everything is negotiable. And this tool helps me to do that. So here it gives me a valuation assessment and it says the asking price represents a 3.0 multiple, which means it represents about 3 years of cash flow. And for established owner absentee laundromats, multiples usually range from 2 to 3.5. So it says that while this is not excessive, it is at the higher end of the range. But given the stable cash flow and turnkey nature, the price doesn't seem overtly high. But it does require justification through further due diligence. So that's good. So the strengths are strong cash flow. You get yearly earnings of 265,000. The business is fully staffed and operates without the owner being on site full time. So this is great for passive investment, or if you want to maintain your 9 to 5, or you have, a family to take care of, you don't have a lot of time, this would be a good opportunity for you. It's established and stable, so it has been in business for many years, which means it's resilient. It has a prime location, so this is in New York, and it says that it supports consistent traffic. All the major equipment is owned outright, and the seller is offering financing, so that can ease the acquisition for a qualified buyer. So let's look at the red flags. Again, it says no growth rate provided. That's not a red flag. I just didn't have that because it wasn't in the listing. So I could definitely get that from the seller or the broker, whoever is representing this listing. It doesn't have lease details. So it just says that there's a long-term lease, but we would definitely need to know the terms of the lease, renewal options, and things like that, because you wouldn't want to buy something like this and then the rent doubles on you, right? So that's something we definitely need to get more information. It does say a red flag is that there's a reliance on attendance. And so while owner absentee is a strength, the level of reliance on attendance for the day-to-day operations without further detail on their tenure, pay, and responsibilities could be a point of concern. So that's just something we would need to get more information about. How long have the employees been there? How much are they being paid? What are their responsibilities and things like that? Coin operated. So while traditional, this could limit modernization and future revenue streams compared to card-based systems. So that's interesting. These washers and dryers are coin operated instead of customers being able to use credit cards. So that could limit just modernizing the business. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just something to consider. And it says no detailed financial breakdown, but again, this is information we can get from the seller that wasn't in the listing. So it tells me the key questions to ask the seller. So we would definitely want to get financial statements like profit and loss, balance sheet, etc., for the last 3 to 5 years. We want to know the lease terms. We want to know the average age of the equipment, so the washers and dryers, and what is their remaining useful life, and provide a list of recent major repairs. What are the current wages, hours, and responsibilities of each attendance? Has there been any recent competition? And what is the typical daily, weekly, monthly machine usage or revenue per machine? And what, if any, marketing or growth initiatives have been attempted in the past, and what were their outcomes? So these are key questions that we can ask the sellers to learn more about the business. And it tells me my recommended next steps. So request detailed financials, obtain the lease agreement so we can understand the terms and the duration to know what the risks are with that. Definitely a site visit and equipment inspection, market research and competitive analysis. So you want to investigate the local market for new development, and you want to interview the employees. This would be after you've placed an offer and the seller accepted. And so once the offer is signed, then you want to discreetly interview the key attendants just to understand the operational dynamics and staff stability. So out of 10, this deal gets a 7. So that lets me know that this is a pretty good deal to pursue. I know what the strengths are, I know what the red flags are. And some of these, like I said, like no growth rate provided and no financial breakdown, those are just because I didn't have the information from the listing. So I would have to just get that from the seller. And I know exactly what questions to ask the seller and what the recommended next steps are. So once I get this information, if I need to better understand, once I get these detailed financials, what to do, I know that I can come up here to the course library and go to deal structure and financing, or even just due diligence. And I can take one of these lessons to understand how to read a profit and loss statement, how to normalize owner earnings, what is the revenue quality, and things like that. So that's why this software is such a great resource, because once you do evaluate a deal, if you have any questions about what any of that stuff means, you can get that information from the course library, or you can come here to the chat and ask a question here about anything like what are good. In fact, let's ask that question. I'm considering buying a laundromat. However, the location is currently rented by the owner. What information do I need to obtain about the lease to determine if it is too risky? So if I have that question about um, just what information I need to get about the lease, I can come here to the AI advisor and it will literally tell me exactly what information that I need in less than a minute. So it's still answering now. And once it's done, I can just actually read through some of this. So it says buying a laundromat where the owner rents the location adds a significant layer of due diligence. So here's a breakdown of information you must obtain. So get the full and current lease agreement. This matters because this is the foundational document and you need the actual legal text. And a red flag would be if the seller is unable to provide a copy, because that indicates disorganization or something to hide. So key lease terms to scrutinize, we need the expiration date. So when does it end? How many years are left? Are there any options to extend or renew? What is the notice period for renewals? And is there a rental rate for renewals? So it also tells me the information I need about the rent and escalation. So what is the current monthly and annual rent? How does the rent increase? Is it annual? Is it every 3 to 5 years? And it also tells me the different clauses I need to understand. So does the lease allow assignment? So that means transfer to a new tenant, which would be you. What are the conditions for the assignment? Is the landlord consent required? And can the landlord unreasonably withhold consent? So those are things you need to know. And it just gives me a further breakdown of everything I need to know about the lease. And then it tells me the information to gather and the actions to take. So get the landlord contact info so I can speak with them, schedule a call with the landlord, introduce myself as the buyer, and ask about their relationship with the current tenant, any outstanding issues or disputes, their willingness to assign the lease to you, and things like that. And it gives me a summary. So high risk would be a short remaining term, so under 3 to 5 years, with poor or no renewal options. Medium risk would be a shorter term, 5 to 7 years, but with good renewal options. And low risk would be a long remaining term, so 7 to 10 years, with clearly defined and reasonable renewal options. Deal breakers would be the seller can't provide the lease prohibits assignment to a new tenant. The landlord refuses to assign the lease to you, even if you're qualified. The rent is unsustainably high or will become so quickly, or the lease term is too short to recoup your investment. So always involve a good commercial real estate attorney to review the lease and advise you before making an offer. or before signing an LOI or any purchase agreement. This is not an area to cut corners. So this is what I love about this software is that once you come in here and analyze a deal, it tells you what the red flags are in the deal analyzer, and you can come here to the chat and actually ask about those red flags. Like um, what would be too risky for a lease, and it'll actually break it down for you. So that's this week's deal. I hope this information has been valuable to you. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. And that's it for this week.